Hi guys! You guys really seemed to like my favorite recipes video that I did. A lot of you commented that you were so excited about it. So I thought I would do another one, and this was actually requested by one of my favorite YouTubers who watches my videos, so you know who you are. But these are my favorite holiday recipes, or winter recipes. They're not necessarily for the holiday, but they're more winter related. So I know that Thanksgiving has passed, but one of these recipes is kind of Thanksgiving-ish, but my family makes it all winter long. And other than that one, everything else is pretty much like a dessert, so yeah, these are some of my favorite recipes for winter that I make a lot, that are just delicious and pretty simple too, like all mine are. I will do what I did last time and link any below that I can find, or I will put them on the screen and you can screenshot them. The first one is stuffing, and I know that you're like, ew, stuffing. Most people don't like stuffing. It's not their favorite side dish for Thanksgiving, but my family makes it completely different, and it's delicious and unhealthy, but it's so good, and it's not your regular like bread stuffing. We use crackers instead, and it makes it so much more moist and delicious. Just give it a shot because you will love it. Every time I've introduced someone to it, they've loved it. I once had to bring it in for a school project, like a family recipe. Everyone loved it. It's just so good. Some of the ingredients are saltines. That's one of the main ingredients. You need like 2 sleeves of them. That's what we've traditionally used, but more recently we've switched to using also the Townhouse and butter crackers because they're a little bit more buttery than saltines. Sometimes what we'll do is take a sleeve of each and mix them together. You can do either cracker that you have. You also need hot chicken broth, egg, celery, onion, butter, lots and lots of butter. It's really pretty easy. It's kind of just like prep, and then put it in a casserole dish and bake it at 350, and it's so good. Honestly, it's not like the stuffing you've ever had before. It's super easy to make, and it smells so good. You can put gravy on it, or you can just eat it by itself. We usually have it like on Thanksgiving, we have it as like an appetizer, and then also with the meal. It's just like salty and buttery and flavorful. You will enjoy it. Okay, next is blueberry crumble, and this I only started making a few years ago, but you can really do it with any fruit. I like the blueberry one the best. I've also made it with apples, and then I've also made it with peaches, so like a peach kind of crumble. But either way, it's always good. What you need is 2 packs of blueberries, like the smaller packs. The more fruit, the better. You can use that. You can use peaches, apples, kind of whatever fruit you want to use. You need oats, like traditional oats, sugar, butter, brown sugar, cinnamon, I'm pretty sure nutmeg is in that. You mix all the dry ingredients and add butter to it. Now that part is kind of complicated because you don't want softened melted butter, but you can't have it fresh in the refrigerator. I mean, you can, but it will take so long to mix it and your arm will be so tired. So unless you're really in good shape, I usually soften it for like really like a few seconds in the microwave, or you can just keep it out for like 5 or 10 minutes, because if you don't soften it, it'll be so hard, and that's what you have to do to make the crumble. You add the butter into all the dry ingredients. You really need to just keep mixing it until all the butter is like invisible and everything's like a nice crumble, and you don't want to see any of the pieces of butter in it, so you have to really mix that well. And while you're mixing that, you would have the berries or the fruit or whatever set aside with some sugar mixed in to really bring the juices and flavor out. And then you take a casserole dish. I guess it really doesn't matter what size it is. Press the crumble into the bottom until it's fully covered. You can't see the bottom of the pan. Then you fill it with the fruit, and then you crumble the rest of the crumble on top, and you bake it. Wow, that's good. With some ice cream or some whipped cream. Ooh. It's not healthy again, so much sugar, but delicious. Okay, now this is one I actually put in my other recipe video, and that was lemon crinkle cookies, but these for winter. I think chocolate crinkle cookies are better for like the winter time, and they also look really snowy and like wintry, and I think these are the kind of cookies, if you're having like a cookie swap or like some kind of Christmas party and you bring cookies, these are the ones to bring. They are amazing, super easy to make too. All you need is a box of any kind of devil's food cake mix. I think I used the Betty Crocker like super moist or something like that, and I think then you need vegetable oil, eggs, vanilla. You just mix everything in it until dough forms, and then to deal with the dough better, to form it into cookies, you have to put it in the fridge. You roll them into like 1 or 2 inch balls. I guess it depends how big you want your cookies, and then you roll them in powdered sugar, like completely coat them. You put them on your baking sheet. I usually cook them on just tin foil, and I don't have to spray it or anything. I put tin foil on like a baking sheet, and you put it in the oven at 350 for 9 to 11 minutes, and these cookies are so good. Like, you're gonna want to eat them fresh out the oven, but they will be really gooey and fall apart, so you do really need to let them cool. And then you let them cool for a couple minutes on there, and then you kind of slide the tin foil off onto a wire rack and let them cool from the bottom too. And then you have to cool them completely really before you eat them, because they will fall apart. And before you stack them or put them in some kind of tin, and I usually separate them out by wax paper so they don't get stuck. But yeah, these are so good. You can also top them with more powdered sugar if you want, but they look so good and wintry, and they taste like gooey cake-like cookies, almost like a brownie. They are so good. If you like chocolate, you will love these. And I don't even like chocolate that much, and I love them. Like, I could literally just eat them and eat them and eat them and eat them. The recipe is like beyond simple. Next holiday recipe is of course a pie, and that's an apple pie. My family apple pie is really good. I know I've seen a lot of other recipes where people cook the apples before they make the pie. Personally, we don't do that in my house because I don't know about everyone else, but I prefer the apples to be quite still crispy. Not crispy, but not like mush pies. When you get an apple pie from, I don't know, like the grocery store, it's almost too mushy, and we use fresh apples. I know a lot of people use like the canned apples. I hate that. I think it's gross. I think it's so fake tasting. So we use about 5 or 6 apples, depending on how big they are, of mixed varieties. I love the green ones. It's my favorite, but we use all different mixtures, kind of whatever kind of apple you like. First thing you do is you gotta peel them and slice them, and you also want to add, before you add in all the dry ingredients into the apples, you want a few splashes of lemon juice so that they don't brown. And then we mix them with flour, cinnamon, sugar, I think that's it. And then we use a pre-made pie crust. You could make one from scratch if that's what your life is about. Not really me. You usually use like Pillsbury or something. Press it into the bottom of a pie dish, and you want like a thick one too, a deep one, because obviously it's not like a flat pumpkin pie or something. Then you dump all the apples into the pie crust. Before you put the lid on, you want to put a few pats of butter in, which is really what gives it the flavor and like unhealthiness of it, but it's so good. So you put a couple pats of butter inside on top of the apples, and then you top it. You could make a lattice, you could make it not a lattice, you can kind of design the top however you want, but if you're not making a lattice and you just put the cover on fully, you need a put slits in it so that it doesn't like explode in the oven. Flute the edges. We just use a fork and like press the edges together so that it's not all gonna like juice out and pour all over the oven. And then usually what we do is brush the lid with some milk so it gets nice brown and crispy. And then you could also take some like crystallized sugar and sprinkle it over the top to give it like that nice cool look. And I'm pretty sure that's that. And you put it in the oven until it gets like nice and brown. Now the oven part is what's kind of complicated. Depends how you normally make pies, but I think you can either put it in with tinfoil or like a pie crust cover on it so that the edges don't burn. Put that in and then take it off for like the last 20 minutes or something, or you can put it in without that on, and then when it starts to get brown you can cover it, but I guess it's whatever your oven does or however you want to do it. Next is another holiday recipe. I guess it's better for fall, so I'm doing this a little bit late, but you could have it whenever. That's pumpkin spice cupcakes. Again, another super easy recipe. I don't find that a lot of people in my life like these, so I've made them a lot and I love them, but I can't eat 24 cupcakes, so I haven't made them recently, but they're so easy. So this is another thing from a box, but you can make it from scratch if you want, but not my kind of thing. So what you want is a spice cake box of cake mix, and I think Betty Crocker makes the one I use. You also use a can of pumpkin, like what you'd use to make a pumpkin pie, and you mix those together along with water and vegetable oil. I don't think you and eggs, and I don't think you have to add any extra spices. You could always throw in some extra cinnamon if you want. And when you mix this though, you can use like a actual mixer, like a blender thingy, but I don't feel like washing that, so I just mix it by hand. You just want to make sure everything's really well combined, and you want to preheat the oven to 350 once again. About 3/4 of the way you want to fill the tins. I just use like the paper liners and cook for about 20 minutes depending on your oven. When you stick a toothpick in them in the center and they come out clean, you know they're done. And then you want them to cool completely, so let them cool for about 5 minutes. They're obviously still hot. Use like a big tablespoon to scoop them out with the paper wrapper obviously, and put them on a wire rack so they can cool completely. Like they have to be like cold to the touch. And then you put your icing on. Now you can make homemade icing. Cream cheese icing is really good. I use buttercream, just vanilla, whatever floats your boat. And then if you want to really go all out there, you could even top it with some caramel, like drizzle it on top. That's totally up to you. Some chocolate, whatever you want. But those are really good, and it's really like fall and cozy. And if you like pumpkin spice, then I think they're a good recipe to make. Okay, 2 are really easy, and they're drinks. One is just salted caramel hot chocolate. I actually put this in a night routine at one point. It's super easy to make. It's just however you normally make hot chocolate. I just use like the Keurig, and you just add in some caramel syrup and some salt. I use like the thicker sea salt because it gives it more of like that punch. You kind of add it however you like it, so start with a little, taste it, and then add more as you like it. You mix it all together, and then you top it with whipped cream, and then on top of the whipped cream, if you really want to go all out and like Instagram it, you drizzle a little more caramel on top of the whipped cream and sprinkle a little bit more salt and take a picture, and it's beautiful. And it's so good, and it's just like a little different from your everyday hot chocolate. Next is a Dunkaccino, and if you know what a Dunkaccino is, it's hot chocolate and coffee mixed. They sell it at Dunkin' Donuts, but I don't like Dunkin' Donuts because they put way too much cream and it's like really heavy, makes me go to the bathroom. I made them at home and they're really good. So it kind of depends what you prefer. If you like coffee more than chocolate or chocolate more than coffee. But if you're like someone who thinks that sounds good to you, this is really easy to make. I use a Keurig, but you can make it however you want. I use 8 ounces of coffee and 6 ounces of hot chocolate, but you could do it the other way. And I just make like my coffee and then make hot chocolate, put it in the same mug and mix it all together. If you like cream in your coffee, you might want to add a little bit of milk or cream. You can top it with a whipped cream and just have that be your cream. I drink black coffee, so it wasn't a problem. And you also don't need any added sugar in this because the hot chocolate is sweet enough to sweeten the coffee. But I think it's really good and it's kind of like an extra burst of caffeine. It's definitely like a sugary drink, but it's obviously a lot cheaper to make it at home. You can go somewhere and get it. And I think if you like mocha flavored coffee that has like that chocolate flavor in it, you're really gonna like this. And last but not least, another really easy one that's so good. And it's kind of like if you don't want to go through the trouble making an apple pie, but you still want like the flavor of an apple pie, you can make apple fritters. It's like a deep fried apple piece. It's so good. A helicopter. Wow. Oh my god, it's so loud. Okay, the apple fritters. It's like a deep fried apple. It's really delicious. So apple fritters, you're gonna want to take Gala apples. Those are the ones that I think taste the best with it. You could use Granny Smith or whatever apples you have. And then you need a can of ginger ale, flour, cinnamon, powdered sugar, and vegetable oil. It's that simple. You're just gonna put some vegetable oil in a frying pan, like not too much, but enough to like cover the bottom and like fit the slices of the apple in. And you want to cut up your apples, kind of like circles, like a donut shape. Mix the ginger ale in with the flour and keep mixing it until like a nice batter forms, kind of like a pancake batter, but a little bit thicker. And then you dip all the apples in there and put them in vegetable oil and fry them until they're crispy and kind of dark on the outside. And then you can roll them in powdered sugar or the cinnamon or both, or like sprinkle it on top. And wow, are they good. They do taste a little greasy. You might want to put them on a paper towel so they can get some of the grease out. But they're really, really good. You could also use them, like dip them in Greek yogurt or icing or whatever you want to do. There's not really any measurements to this. It's kind of like eyeballing it, but it's really, really good. Those are my more holiday winter recipes. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're gonna try one of these, please let me know in the comment which one sounds the most exciting and delicious to you. They're definitely not on my like healthy eating list, but it's the holidays. I do hope you guys enjoyed this. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to see more videos from me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!